Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today for another live stream today and talk. So, first of all, I just wanted to say that today is Hina Matsuri in Japan. So, it's the girls' festival or dolls' festival. So, today is the day we pray for the good health and happiness of girls. And I'll explain a little bit more about it as we go on in the stream. But I just wanted to start off with a greeting. So happy Hina Matsuri. And another thing that I wanted to talk about before we start is that, I know that there's a lot of difficult things in the world going on right now. Um, I I know that people don't come to the stream to hear about it, but I just want to say that I do see things that are going on, and I pray about them to Kami-sama. And let's just hope and pray together that things can get better in the world, and hopefully we can all have a better future and brighter future. As the Konko teaching says, usually, have faith in Kami-sama and look forward to the future. And I feel like even if things seem really, really bad in the moment, so much can change in 24 hours. That's something I've learned over the past decade, especially. So, just take every 24 hours, every day at a time. And I feel like that is the best way you can move forward without like giving into despair or letting it control you. So, especially a lot of us have to, a lot of things are out of our control. And there's a lot of things that we have to manage in our day-to-day lives. Like, it's difficult realistically to just kind of like abandon things in order to kind of focus on what we feel is important, but it's difficult to realistically like address these important things while also balancing how we take care of our local community and local um, contributions. So, hopefully we just find a realistic way to balance everything as we hear about bad things going on, but also just trying to balance like realistically our day-to-day lives. Um, and in the event that these things do encroach on our day-to-day life, then we can act and we can do the actions that we need to do. But in the meantime, just try to focus realistically on what we can do and stay informed and prepared, but also just not giving into like letting ourselves getting overwhelmed or get into despair, or we get frozen from the fear and helplessness feeling. So just I hope that we can all find a good balance as we move forward each 24 hours. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of like talk about it a little bit at the beginning before we get into like cultural stuff and Japanese culture stuff. So, but yeah, thank you so much for listening and being here. And yeah, I just hope we can all come together and recognize that we're not alone going through these hard things. So, hi, thank you so much. And hello, Vidim-san. Hi, thank you for coming. And hello, Ineza-san. Thank you so much for coming too. I really appreciate you guys coming here today. I hope everyone's doing well too. So yeah, today is Hina Matsuri. Unfortunately, it's been raining all day, so it hasn't been feeling exactly like festive, but it's good. Rain, at least with the rain, there won't be any pollen um, hitting us, so we can relax from pollen allergies. I'm trying to see the silver lining, but and I heard also today was like a blood moon, so like a blood moon eclipse, full moon, like so many astronomical phenomena on Hinamatsuri. But yeah, it's raining, so I can't see anything. But I am thankful for the rain, definitely. So it happens. It's shogunai. It can't be helped. Um, so about Hinamatsuri, it's a really nice festival because it's kind of also like a spring festival. There's a lot of like imagery of cherry blossoms and this little bird called Mejiro. It's like a little green bird, and their eyes have like a white circle around them. And there's like the Mejiro is the symbol of spring, and Sakura and like the dolls, and little like Hinamatsuri like snacks, and also feels very like springy and cute and like girly. So I really like it. Oh, Reem-san says, yes, happy Hinamatsuri. My mom offered Kami-sama some roses. Oh, that's so nice. I'm so happy to hear. I'm happy to hear she's like, joining you, to offer to the Kamidana and pray to Kami-sama. So it's so nice. I'm really glad. And yeah, like, I don't know, that's another thing, like the flowers, like there's so many, you know, like flowery decorations and like lilies, and so it's really fun and cute. I really like it. Today we didn't do too much, but we did like someone came here for a toritsugi earlier today, and she offered like little like hinamatsuri wagashi, like Japanese sweets, and it was super yummy and they were super cute. Like they had the little like hina doll pictures, and I don't know, it was cute. I really liked it. Here at the kyokai, we sometimes do like a little hinamatsuri thing, especially like if we know like a worshiper with a young daughter will come. Like we have a tiny little hina set, but unfortunately this year it's been super busy, and I only had time to set up like the little itty bitty hina dolls on the like little information table. So I mean they're there and they're cute. I'll have to take a picture later. But yeah, unfortunately, just we didn't have too much time. But there is like other shrines in Japan that do have like a big, huge Hinamatsuri event, and I'm trying to remember, but I know some shrines like they put a whole huge display of the Hina dolls, and people can go to pray to those shrines for good blessings for their daughters and girls and women. I know, like especially in the like in North American shrines, like I know like in Konko in San Francisco, and I'm pretty sure Hilo Daijingu in Hawaii, and I think I want to say Izumo Taisha Mission. They also do like a Hina doll set, especially because like most of the places are like also centers of like Japanese culture for for like Japantown or like the Japanese diaspora there. So it's nice to see like the Hina doll set, and like everything's like really cute and pretty. And yeah, I love them so much. Yeah, and I think you guys know, but there's also like Boys Day. So like in May, like in Golden Week, there's also kind of like a setup for the boys with like a samurai helmet and like some other like regalia. But it's not as like I guess celebrated, or like not as iconic as much. I mean, it is iconic, but like I think because Boys Day is during Golden Week, so it's a little bit like part of the whole week, whereas like Hinamatsuri is like just the day, so it's a little bit of a different feeling. And also, again, like it ties to spring and the coming of spring and stuff like that. Oh, Ina's-san says it's sunny and warm today in Poland as a contrast to Japan's weather, so the dolls look beautiful on the kamidana. Oh, so nice! I'd love to see a picture of them. If you have it, I'd love to see how your setting is for Hinamatsuri. And yeah, I feel like today should be a nice sunny day, but it was cold and rainy, and I'm like, it's okay next year. But yeah, I'm glad it was sunny and warm there. And Vadim says boys' days feel kind of lame. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's like it's not as like it's not as iconic in my opinion compared to Hinamatsuri. I don't know. Yeah, I think the vibes are a little bit different, but it's good. It's good. And there's also other holidays like Respect for the Age Day, and I don't think there's a family. I think that's a Canadian thing, But yeah, they're not really as celebrated. I think it's Hina Matsuri is kind of like Easter a little bit, like not in the religious sense, but like the cultural sense. Like okay, spring's coming, and we're gonna get all the the eggs and the bunnies and the cute flowery things. I think it's the same kind of vibes here in Japan, where it's like, okay, spring's coming, Hina Matsuri, put the dolls, the cherry blossom decorations and things like that. So I think that's kind of like the same feeling. So it's nice. And then of course, like later, in about like 10 days, there's gonna be White Day, which you guys may know is like the girls' version of Valentine's Day. So in Japan, um, like the guys get chocolates on Valentine's Day, but then on White Day, a month later, then the girls get the chocolates from the guys, and so it's kind of like split. But yeah, and and when I talk to my Japanese friends about it, they're like, "Oh, I prefer just like we all get the chocolate on Valentine's Day." And I'm like, "Yeah, like well, you could do both. Like everyone gets chocolate on Valentine's Day, and then everyone gets chocolate again on White Day, and then it's like extra nice because everyone gets double chocolate." But yeah, it's just funny conversations while here. But I did want to kind of talk about like the symbolism of Hinamatsuri. Like maybe you guys are familiar already, but like if anyone watches later, like the recording, if they don't know, like Hinamatsuri is basically like the day to like pray for girls' health and safety, not just young girls, but also like women as a whole too. Like originally the festival is kind of like a nobles festival. So like in the An period, the nobles would pray for their daughters to grow up healthy. And the doll display was for the daughters, but also as kind of like a way that like any kind of like misfortune or bad energy or things like that, unlucky things, would go from the daughter to the dolls, and then the dolls would kind of like take all the bad stuff, and then that's why like they had to take the dolls down before the day, like before it was the fourth, so like it wouldn't like linger the bad energy, and it wouldn't like bring bad luck, or like it wouldn't give the impression of like the girl marrying late in life, because back then they wanted her to marry early and have a family and stuff. So it was kind of like all this like idea of like girls growing up healthy and well and a good future. But it's kind of like evolved from that old kind of noble ceremony, especially when it went to like the general population, where like it's not just praying for like your young daughter to grow up well, but also for like all girls and women to kind of like pray for their good health and happiness. And I think the dolls still kind of take on like a kind of like substitute, like kind of feeling, like that they will take away all the kegare and bad feelings, like through the dolls. And it's kind of like oharai, like when we do in the great purification in the summertime and wintertime. But this specifically is like more for girls. And of course, like I heard like some people will actually like burn, like put the dolls away to be burned, and then they buy a new set like every year. I was like, whoa, that's intense. So I heard people do that, but most of the time it's just like kind of symbolically, like they put up the dolls take away the bad, like fortune, and then they put away the dolls after, and then it kind of like is symbolically taking it away. But I know some families who are like very traditional, like sometimes they'll even burn the set of the year and then get an entire new set for the next year. So that's kind of like the distinction, but basically like the feeling of like the dolls taking away the kegare, misfortune and curses, are this feeling is still there, the sense of the festival and the holiday for that reason. Oh, okay, so let me read the comments. Redeem Sun says, and it's like Girls' Day is really beautiful, calm with all the dolls and flowers. Yes. But for Boys' Day, there's like army soldier war related decorations. Yes. Boys should really stop seeing these things. Yeah, I know. It's like very like I don't know how to explain it. I think you know what I mean though. It's like yeah. They use the senses, but they're also the carp streamers on the boys' day and the iris flowers. Yeah, I think we should keep the carp and the iris flowers, but I know like the kind of like aggressive masculine like boys go to war and they fight for the country kind of thing. It's like I know that's like in every culture and every country, but I think like especially in thinking about our modern times, um I know okay was I know some people say like well like war is a part of human nature and war is inevitable, and it's got to be the boys who go to war, etc. And I'm like well, we should be at a point in society where we can evolve past this archaic mindset and way, and there should be room for like negotiations, political talks, trade, economy, things like that. But unfortunately, um, there's this kind of idea like the only way countries can like settle issues or like disputes is like through war and violence. And of course, like a lot of times, it's the young men who suffer from this choice from powerful leaders. And that has been true throughout history. And we can see this echo in Boys' Day because they have the samurai helmet, and it was the young men who went to serve under the warlord to fight for the warlord or the clan or well, but this is like back in the Sengoku period where there was a bunch of clans. So they're all fighting against each other before the country was more unified. But same concept, like fighting for your side against another side. And it doesn't seem to matter how many times in history people say like war is horrible and I never want to go through war again. Since like ancient Rome to like now, but it still ends up happening, and I think that I don't know why we as humanity keep like following the same patterns, and we don't really like we learn from them, but then we keep repeating history nonetheless. And I'm not saying like military and like military prowess and like discipline and martial arts and things like that. I'm not saying that they're unnecessary or bad, because I think they can bring discipline, and it is good to have like like this kind of sense of like protection. And you know I don't know, like here in Yokosuka, of course, there's like the Navy, and the Navy do drills and they like prepare for like any situation. And I don't know, like even just like symbolically, I think that's good because it's like showing like you are willing to protect the place you love. And there's like aspects of like discipline and technological advancements and so on. So I'm not saying that those sides are bad or like we should eradicate them entirely, but I do think um like I guess like the actual act of conflict between countries and peoples, I think we should be at a point in humanity where we shouldn't be kind of like thinking of that as an option necessarily, unless it's like a last resort. Like if someone is like in power is like super crazy and there's no other way to stop them, maybe. But I do not see that in modern political landscapes, and I see more like people using it as a tool and thinking of people as tools to further their personal agendas and I don't know, whatever economical plans, or I don't know. I don't know their mindset, but I do know that a lot of time young men are being treated as tools by people in power who will never hold a weapon in their life, or who have never gone through military discipline or training or anything like that. And then they think that they can use young men and women as pawns to further whatever goal that they may have. And I think that is a huge problem. I think that's very problematic. I always tell like when I talk about it with friends, I'm like, if we ever like if we as humanity still need to have war, like I prefer it if the person first of all, I prefer it if like it was a big battlefield like in the old days. And secondly, I would prefer it if the general or the leader of the army would is someone who actually understands what war is and who has actually gone through like the trauma and pain and um, all the horrible things. And they're not just someone sitting in like a cushy office with all the money in the world, using people like pawns. So that is my perspective on that situation. And I kind of went off on a tangent and like a big rant, but it is something like close to home for me. And um, especially like not even just like here living in Yokosuka, but like even before, like in Canada, like I've heard like so many stories of those like World War I and World War II, like within my family and within the country of Canada, and like growing up with like things like Remembrance Day and all that, but also like knowing people in militaries and like living here in a military town. It's like I know it's not simple, but I think that like the concept of men in power who just like use resources and think that they're above the law. And I think the internet died. Oh my gosh, I don't know if it will come back. Okay, I probably maybe I got censored for a second. I don't know. The internet went down for a second, but I don't know. But it's just like I just think like if you're gonna be leading a military, you should have experience in the war. So yeah, that's my hot take for the day. But anyways, so um, how like so, just like kind of going on that topic, and thinking about like Japan and stuff. I was actually thinking about like recently, um, just like I was thinking about like mythology. Oh, hi Terrence, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Sorry, I just said a really spicy take about things, but it's okay because I don't know. It's okay. I just talk, but yeah, welcome. But I was thinking about like speaking of like shoguns and warlords and stuff like that. Um, I was just thinking about like when I lately I've been reading about like mythology, like Japanese mythology and like lore and stuff. I don't know if you should call it mythology, but basically like stories of the kami. Especially because this is like maybe it's cringe, but I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen. Sorry, I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen, and one of the main villains is Ryomen Sukuna. He's like he's like he's like a guy from like in the anime he's different, but like in actual Japanese mythology, he's like mentioned in the Nihon Shoki as like you know like this evil kind of pillager who like caused trouble in the village, and how like the imperial family had to stop him by sending one of their princes to stop him and things like that. Um, and I was just thinking that like in relation to that story, like how kind of it's very interesting because in the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, a lot of the kami-sama are like related to like war and like politics in the sense of like running the country and their influence on the imperial family or their connection to it, or like how these certain events happened that led to the power of the imperial family in Japan. So like for example, like the earliest story like this is like when Susano no Mikoto sama, he was like so he was like part of Takamagahara, like the heavenly realm, but um he started to he started to get crazy like in Takamagahara. Like he started to like attack the rice fields and like just he was going really crazy. I don't want to there's like some details of the story that kind of makes me like embarrassed, and I don't want to say, but he was just really going crazy and like ruining everything and like doing crazy stuff. And he was doing that because he was grieving the loss of Izanami no Okami-sama, his mother. But Amaterasu Omikami-sama thought he was acting out to kind of like show against her authority and like try to like rebel against her authority. Like it was hard for her to understand like why he was acting so intense and like destroying so many things. And she tried to be like lenient to him, but he went too out of hand. And he did that thing where he like skinned a horse and he threw it in the weaving Kamisama's hall, and then he like the horse fell on Wakahirume no Mikoto-sama, which is said to be like Amaterasu Omikami-sama's younger sister, and she like fell on the spindle, and then she like died from that. And then that whole like incident, like the offense of like the sacred horse getting skinned, and then her Wakahirume no Mikoto-sama dying, and like all of it was too much. So that's when she went into Amano Iwato. But because of that, Susanoo no Mikoto-sama was seen as like a big traitor. Like they thought that he did that like not out of grief, but on purpose to like kind of like cause trouble in Takamagahara and like cause chaos and like disrupt the order of things. And his punishment for this was that like all of his nails got like torn off, like not like cut, but like ripped from the nail bed, like all of his nails, and his like beard was shaved and his hair was shaved, and he was like expelled from Takamagahara, and he was like thrown to Izumo, and like he was left to like basically like excommunicated for this punishment. And like I feel like to modern ears that sounds pretty crazy. Like it sounds like almost like like really severe to do something like that. But I feel like the meaning of this story probably like before anything like police or like laws. And it was more like a clan kind of ancient clan feeling. In many cultures, like if you did like an unforgivable crime, they would either like execute you, or you would get like banished, like excommunicated. And I think what Susanoo no Mikoto-sama did would have warranted like his execution, but I feel like maybe because he was the brother of Amaterasu Mikami-sama, they didn't want to like upset her more. I'm not sure, but they at least like made him feel like a deep pain, like physical pain of like ripping the nails out, and like humiliation of like shaving his hair and beard, and then excommunicating him. I feel like it was like a way to show like justice, I guess, in the absence of like law and like prisons and things like that. So it was kind of like him facing the consequences of that action, of like he basically murdered her younger sister. So I mean, I guess it was kind of like that situation that happened. And like they there was kami-sama that were kind of like they were kind of like warlord-y, like kami-sama, but not really. They were kind of like a mix between like like how do I explain it? Like not like a bodyguard, but like you know like a warrior who protects the royalty, like that kind of. I don't know the word; it's not coming to me. But like someone who is really strong and like good at war, and they're like powerful, and then they're there to protect the royalty. There's coming someone like that, and they were also like making sure that Susanoo no Mikoto-sama didn't come back or like try anything else. So it's kind of like this idea of like a lot of people have the idea like Kami-sama are really peaceful, and I feel like they are like now that everything's like established. But in the early age, like in the age of the Kami, there was a lot of stuff to do with like it was a little bit more brutal and more like militaristic and very like clan kind of style of stories, like clan based um like sense of storytelling or like expression of the kami-sama. um so like another thing is that, for example, before this happened, Amaterasu Omikami-sama, when Susanoo no Mikoto-sama tried to come to like see her in Takamagahara, she like put on like military armor and like had like a bow and arrow, and she like aimed it at him, and she was like, I'm not gonna let you in Takamagahara because like I don't trust you and like all these things, and like because you're like disobedient and so on. And so like she was ready to basically like defend Takamagahara from him in like a militaristic sense. So I think it shows like Amaterasu Omikami-sama, she's not only like very loving and peaceful and warm, but she has like a militaristic like defender side, like kind of like that vibe. But she's not like a warmonger. So like, she didn't try to start wars, or like she didn't want to fight Susanoo no Mikoto-sama, but she wanted to defend Takamagahara. So I think that's like, again, like there's a kind of nuance there between like um you know saying like war is something like inevitable and we're always going to fight, versus like someone just having militaristic discipline to defend a place that they're supposed to defend or protect. So I guess that's the difference in like the old ways and like just in general about like war stuff. I hope this is making sense. I'm not sure. I'm kind of like jumping all over the place, but just I was thinking about this in relation to like the news of what was happening, and like how does Shinto or like even just like Japanese traditional mindset towards like war and military and things like that. And yeah, there's some references to it as far back as the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, especially in regard to Amaterasu Omikami-sama and Susanoo no Mikoto-sama. They were kind of like in a conflict a bit, but they never like actually like tried to fight each other, things like that. So, and there's another story. Sorry, let me go back. There's another story in relation to this where Amaterasu Omikami-sama, she was getting like irritated at Okuninushi Okami-sama in Izumo because he didn't want to like yield to her. Like he didn't want her to be the sole ruler of Japan. Like he wanted to keep his sovereignty in Izumo, but she was like, Amaterasu Omikami-san was like, no, I want Izumo and you to be like unified under Takamagahara, like Japan, basically. But he was like, no, because I was here before you came to this country. And so they were kind of like, there was very tense. And they tried to send like envoys and like messengers to like mediate between the two sides, but something would always happen. So like I mentioned this a little bit before, but there was a story of like Ameno Wakahiko sama, and Takamagahara sent like a pheasant, like one of those little birds, as the messenger to him. Like, okay, so sorry, let me go back. So first, Ameno Wakahiko, he went to go to Izumo as a messenger, but then he met a woman Kami-sama there, and they kind of fell in love, and they kind of like eloped, and he didn't want to leave Izumo. So then everyone in Takamagahara was like, why isn't he coming back? Did he die? Like, did something happen? Is he captured? Is he hostage? They're thinking about so many things. So they send the pheasant to go as a messenger to see what happened. But he mistakes it, or like I forgot what happened, but something happens where he like I think the version changes where like either his wife tells him to shoot the pheasant, or he's confused and he thinks that the pheasant is coming to spy on him. But either way, he ends up shooting down the pheasant with an arrow. And when the pheasant's like spirit goes back to Takamagahara, Amaterasu Omikami-sama is like shocked because she's like, oh my god, like he shot down like our messenger, and she thinks like now he's a traitor. So then like it's like it adds up to the conflict more. And I remember there was another story where like um well, I'm gonna actually, you know what, I'm gonna just save this story for like another live stream because it goes into more deeper like Izumo lore and Suwa lore and stuff like that. But basically like a lot of bad things were happening, and I want to get more into the stories because there's like the stories in the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, and then there's local lore. So I kind of want to save that for like another stream, but because it kind of goes beyond this topic. But anyways, like a lot of bad stuff was happening, and Amaterasu Omikami-sama thought like she was getting betrayed, and she's like, what's with this? Like, what's with Okuni Nishio Kami-sama? Like, why does everyone want to live with him? Like, why do they all go to him? Like, what is he doing? And she thought like he was like manipulating the Kami-sama from Takamagahara. So you can imagine the tensions were going really, really high. So finally, like as far as the myth goes, is that Amaterasu Omikami-sama was like planning now to like invade Izumo like directly, because she's like feeling like so many traitors and so much like maybe manipulation, and like what, like she doesn't understand what's happening. So she's like planning to invade Izumo and like stop it once and for all. Um so like everyone's preparing for like a big war, and it's really scary and like intense. And I don't know how, I don't remember how, but like somehow Okuni no Shiokami-sama like finds out, and so he starts preparing for the war too. And they like meet. I think it was at the like Heavenly Bridge. I don't remember the name. Like Ameno. I don't know. I have to find out. But they meet at the Heavenly Bridge, and they're like about to fight. They were like about to start fighting. But I love the story. That's why I'm laughing, because it's a really cute story. Is that like Sarutahiko Okami-sama sees like Ame no Uzume no Mikoto-sama, and they kind of like have like like sparks. And then Ame no Uzume no Mikoto-sama, she shows her breasts to him, and he's like, whoa, and then he like falls in love instantly with her. And all the other kami-sama are like, what just happened? Because they're shocked like she would even like do that in this situation. And everyone's shocked, and like they're kind of like, it's so absurd. Like some of them start laughing. And then their Sarutake Okami-sama is like, let's get married right away to her. And then because because the Kunitsukami, like the Izumokami, would marry Amatsukami, like Amenozumi no Mikoto-sama from Takamagahara, um, they obviously can't have a war because they're like connected now because of the marriage. So thanks to Amenozumi no Mikoto-sama, she like basically prevented the apocalypse or like an Armageddon, like a Ragnarok, from her showing her breast, which is really funny. But that's like her in the rock cave myth too. Like she saved the day by making everyone laugh from like her dance. So because it was just so like so energetic and so free and like so like just so revitalizing. And here too, like she did the same thing, and then immediately like Saratahiko Okami-sama wanted to marry her. So then they came together, and Amaterasu Kami-sama was like shocked because now she prepared this whole war, but there's no war happening because they got married. And Okuni no Shiokami-sama was shocked too, and he was like, whoa. But then from that incident, they came to a compromise. And so Amaterasu Omikami-sama said, okay, well, how about this? Like, I rule the like physical world, like utsushio, like I'll rule the physical world, the government, the people, and you rule kakurio, like the spiritual world, and the matters of the kami-sama, and we'll all meet at your shrine to discuss things. And Okurinashi Okami-sama agreed. So then Amaterasu Okami-sama said, okay, so I'll build you a big shrine, and as like a gesture of peace and gratitude for you accepting my desires. And so it said like Izumo Taisha, like the very first version, was built by like Amaterasu Kami-sama and the Amatsukami for Okuninoshi Okami-sama because he agreed that he would like compromise, that he would allow her to like be like the ruler in accordance with like, you know, the Yamato clan, the imperial family, and, you know, as like the ruler of the physical side of Japan and the people and the government, where he would rule over the spiritual matters and kakurio. And that's why all the kami-sama meet at Izumo in Kan Arizuki in Izumo, or Kannazuki in all of the other Japan. So that's also where it came from, where like they were about to have a big war, but then things kind of were negotiated. All thanks to Amenozan no Mikoto-sama, like thanks to her boldness, they kind of let go of that like aggression and like tunnel vision, and then they could negotiate towards like a peaceful compromise, and things became much better from that. So when I think about that story, I think about how, like, you know, even in our world of humans, like the best thing to do is like have negotiations and like proper compromises and talks, and not just immediately jump to violence or war. Even if like even if they were prepared, like Amaterasu Omikami-sama was ready to fight, and she wore armor, and so did Okunin Shiokami-sama and the Kunitsukami. They were ready, like they had that discipline and like mindset to fight for what they wanted to protect and like their beliefs and so on. And that, I think that is something respectable, but the what made things even better was not getting to a conflict, but having the ability to have a compromise and like talks of like peace and how to work together. And I think the reason like Amano Uzume no Mikoto-sama did something so absurd is because I feel like we need that too as humanity. Like sometimes people get so like tunnel vision that they forget like what's really important, and like we're just human. Like we shouldn't just like throw away lives, or you know, lose what's really important at the end of the day, which is like realizing like all of us just want to live a good happy life, and we just want to enjoy like good food and come and like our family and friends and simple pleasures, you know. I think at the end of the day, like that's all anyone really truly wants, or like really should want, honestly. And I think like her presence in this story kind of reminds us as people, like not to get to tunnel vision, even if things are even like justified in a way to have tunnel vision, because yeah, like there was really bad things happening from Amaterasu Omikami-sama's perspective, and you know the level of like disrespect to her, and like, you know, all these bad situations. Yeah, like of course, like it was almost justified in a way for her to get so angry, but still like those things were also like miscommunications and, you know, like complicated situations, and they didn't need to resort to violence necessarily. So I thought that is an interesting story to me in like Shinto mythology and perspective, because like, you know, when I compare it to like other like ancient religions, like sometimes there's been like wars between gods or like groups of gods, and you know it's like they actually go through with the war. But here in like Japan, the story of the gods here is that they didn't end up having a war, or and then there's no war prophesized. Like they ended up being able to compromise. So I found that really like interesting, that was able to happen. And there was also no like major conflict that resulted in like a lot of deaths of many kamisama and things like that. So I don't know, it's interesting to think about. And you might be wondering, like, how does a kamisama die? Um, well, I'm not really sure myself because they mention it a lot of times in Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, like kamisama is dying. Like Izanami o Kamisama, of course, and Waka Hirome no Mikoto-sama, and even Saruta Hiko Omikami-sama, Okami-sama, excuse me. He dies once too. Like he gets his hand, like a clam bites his hand, and he falls into the river and he drowns. And I'm always wondering, like how? It's because Kami-sama are not like humans, but I think there's a little bit of like a mystery there, like maybe symbolism. Either that like they were like these stories were like oral traditions of like a real person who got associated to the kami-sama, or like maybe it's like symbolic, and or it's related to the kami-sama's nature, because like for example, like Waka Hirome no Mikoto-sama, she's kind of like a kami-sama of like resurrection too. So like nowadays, like at her shrine at Ikuta Jinja in Kobe, like she kind of has a lot of like imagery where it's like resurrection, like rebirth, like no matter how many times the shrine got burned or destroyed, they always come back. So kind of like that symbolism there too. So it's really interesting. But yeah, Japanese stories and mythologies are really interesting, and I always think about them too. And from like a Konko perspective too, just like thinking of like, because I always every time I always read about like the general like Japanese history and mythology, I always like think about like back in relation to my own like home faith. And in Konko faith, there's the thing I always think about most of all is like Konjin sama and like Daishogun Konjin, because a shogun is like the warlord, right? And Daishogun means like the great warlord Konjin, and it's kind of like giving that image of like a fierce, like I don't know how to explain it, like like an intimidating, fierce like authority that you should not like mess with, because he knows what like he's been on the battlefield and he's led armies, and he has experience in like really devastating situations. Like that's kind of image of Daishogun. So I think about that too, and like why is he called Daishogun Konjin and things like that. So and I'm curious about that, and I want to learn more. I think about it a lot of times. Um, Otherwise, like there's not really too much of a mention on well, like in the Edo period at the time of Konko Faith, there was a lot of like samurai who were part of Konkokyo, and like correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember one of Konko Daijin Sama's sons was also a samurai. So they were serving in like kind of that era's like culture for young men, and it's not necessarily like they enjoyed it really, but they just kind of like it was like a position in society that allowed you to have a lot of privilege and like more social power. So I think that's another factor, um, with with like the idea that like it's not just about like having like fighting, I guess, or like like fighting in actual wars or things like that, but like the social aspect of war as well, which I don't necessarily think, again, like it's not entirely like it doesn't have to be problematic, but it's often problematic. So it's complicated like that too. But anyway, that's just kind of what I'm thinking about in relation to it. I don't know. I'm kind of like scatterbrained all over the place today about this topic, but if you have any comments or like additional things you want to like mention as well, like we can have the conversation too. But I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about that in Japanese culture. So, oh, okay. So Ina-san says there's an interesting series on Netflix about kamisama functioning on Earth called AARO, All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or RO. Worth checking out if anyone wants to. Oh, that's cute. Interesting. Let me see. Oh no, Deep-san says, I'm at a YouTube with its message symbol limit. I cannot fit my Daishogun Konjin Sama gap in that limit. No. Do you still have it? I hope it didn't delete it. I want to read the gap. Yeah, I want to read it. Maybe you could post it on Discord or I could read it here. Sorry, I don't know why YouTube does this. It is annoying too for me too. Let me see the drama. Sorry, I'm switching it up. Yusen says, not say anything more because spoilers. Abadim says, that's why I like Discord more. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, maybe we could do it like have the Discord. You know what I should do? I should have OBS and put the Discord chat in OBS. So you can chat in Discord and then it pops up on the screen. But I have to set up OBS. And I've been meaning to do that for a while. So I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. But, yes, but I gotta do that because it'll make things a lot easier than just like trying to put it on YouTube. I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta set it up and make it nice. And also, it could have like a screen to like show like references because sometimes I'm like talking about something and I want to show a picture, but I can't because there's like no way to show it on YouTube. So yeah, I was talking to Masafumi Sensei about it, like setting up OBS and like putting a thing, and it would be much better, like higher quality. But I looked up AARO, and it looks like I think I've seen this drama on TV, and I think I've seen it where that like they are the kami-sama. I'm not sure, but like it looked really interesting, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. So, thank you, because I didn't know the name. Like I just heard I just saw scenes on TV, and the characters were like calling each other as kami-sama, and I was like, what is this? And it was really interesting. But yeah, let me just pull up Discord too, because like I think it'd be easier if we could talk about it. But I'm sorry. um, it's sad because like I feel like this is such a good topic, but I went all over the place, and I'm like, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And I'm just like, it's not coherent. I guess I'm still getting used to going live stream. I was actually thinking recently of like doing like a proper like scripted video where it's like I have the topic and the middle point, like like a thesis, like you have your thing and you have the meat and then you have the conclusion and it's all pretty and it makes sense. But and it's not like a live like yap session where it's just like me like scatterbrained. But I appreciate you guys listening to me and like being here on the live stream with me because I really appreciate it. Um, for real, thank you so much. And I'm happy we can like chat too on live, so it's nice. But Everything-san says it's like Twitter with its symbols limit. There's no point in my gap if I'm limited, bro. No, exactly. Oh my gosh, I have like my Twitter sometimes, and I'm like sometimes this is embarrassing, but sometimes like I think about something that makes me really like frustrated or something like that, and I'm like, oh my god, like I gotta like write about this. It's like I go on my Twitter and I'm like, I think and I start like writing, and then it's so annoying when you're trying to like just vent it basically, and then then it's like the text goes red, and you're like, "Ugh," and I gotta like copy paste it into the different sections. But it's not something that I would want to like really like. It wouldn't like I wouldn't want to post it anywhere else really because I feel like Twitter is trying to be like a forum, like because people are always discussing topics on there. but then there's a character limit, so you can't really like get the same vibe as like a forum where you just like I think, and then you write your you write your thoughts in like a whole thing, and it's like I don't know. I have to admit I get stuck in the loop sometimes too, and that is not good. But I am human, and I get stuck in the loops, and it's sad. But I am trying to evolve past that. But yeah, I'm just like stuck in the vibe sometimes. Oh, yeah, but these sounds like yeah. If it's like a thread, almost no one will read it. 1 out of 105. 1 out of 105. Exactly. It's like it's true. Like it's like my thoughts on something something, and it's like huge, and I'm just like whoa. Like this should be a blog post for real. But then like I don't know. It's like even though even like I feel like even if you write a blog, people will be like, "Where's the TikTok summary?" And you're like, "No," but it's funny like that. Terrence says, I saw it some time ago. The children's anime, The Oni, is really good. Oh, okay. Let me check it out. Let's see. The Oni anime. It sounds cute. I'm interested. I like Oni. Oh, I see. Is it Oni the Thunder God's Tale? It looks super cute. Let's see if I can like. Oh my god, I love the. It's so cute. Oh my god, I love. I don't know if it's this one, but it's like a Netflix one, and it looks like a little bit like stop motion. Slime ASMR. Oh, you mean like for OBS? That'd be funny. Oh my god. Like for those like pay attention TikTok lectures, and there's like the ASMR and like things like that. Oh my god, I laugh so much at those videos. There's like Temple Run in like one screen here, and then there's like the ASMR. And then there's like chat. It's like going and it's like there's like all these like graphics exploding on the stream. I actually laugh so much. Oh my god, I make a joke with my friend a lot. Like one time we saw this like TikTok or TikTok live or something. It was like this girl, and she every time you donated, she would like react with a donation. Like she would say like, "Yum, ice cream, so good," or something. And we were dying because it's like, oh my gosh, like she doesn't have any chance to talk because people keep donating. So she keeps like repeating that like, "Yum, ice cream's so good." That's all the stream is. And it just kills me because it's like what is happening online right now? And like it's not even like anything like she's not saying anything, she's just reacting to the donations. So it's like really funny. But then I'm like, well, she's getting money. You know, it's a thing, right? So but it's crazy like on the internet, like there's so many things. But you know what, I think it's always been like that. Oh my Vadim says, oh my god, I know what you're talking about. We have the same TikTok streams type in Russian. Oh no. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. I don't understand. Like it's so funny. Like oh, I'm like impressed that even in Russian like the same thing happens. Oh my god. Cuz I find it really funny. I don't know. I feel like the internet has always been kind of weird like that sometimes. Like there's always been like a weird side to it where it's like something that doesn't feel like you would see like anywhere else in media. But because it's so like engaging to like human sensory input, like it happens on the internet. So like for example, like I'm showing my age, but like back in the day, back in my day, no, back in my day, there was like these like Newgrounds, like it was like a flash site. I think it still exists, but like it was called like Cookie Clicker or something, and like you would. It was like a website with like cookies that were falling down, I think, and you had to like click them as they fell down. And I feel like this is like the modern version of the cookie clicker, but it's like a real person. So like every time you donate, it's like the cookie clicker, like you'll get in a reaction from the person, but it's like more exciting because it's like a real person. So it's like it's a little bit like crazy like that. I know I'm wondering if I dreamt the cookie clicker. Sorry, I don't even. It's just like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. I think we've all lived through a really crazy time. Like all of us who are living now from like 2000s onward. Like I feel like we've lived in like a super crazy time. Like yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like, and it's been like almost like a like a stasis because like stuff from like 2000, I don't know, 2001, I want to say, like it's still culturally relevant now in 2026. So like you know, like for example, like my mom's generation, like every decade would kind of have their own like identity and like, you know, their own like media and like identity and like fashion sense and music every decade, like, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And I'm not saying like they were perfect, like everything was good. There was still a lot of like problems in the world and like issues with the economy and the government, but they also had their own cultural identities, like subculture. It was like, you know, they each had their own thing. And then like I feel like we got to like 2000, and 2000s kind of had their own cultural identity, but then like then it like kind of stopped there, and then like ever since like 2000 onward, like we've still been in the same kind of like thing. Like for example, like a real good example is like SpongeBob. Like I grew up as a little kid with SpongeBob, and I'm an old lady now. Well, not old. I'm joking. I'm gonna be 33, and you know that's like adult. It's full adult. But SpongeBob, everyone still knows SpongeBob, and like Shrek, and like Powerpuff Girls, and like all these old media that like I grew up with. It's like still culturally like relevant. Like there's still like new Shrek movies coming out, and I'm like, I don't like that. I know like a lot of people my generation like do like that, and I'm like, yeah, I love Shrek. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Shrek, SpongeBob, Powerpuff Girls, etc. But I would love to see new stuff. Like, I want to see new stories, new media, new ideas. Like, I don't want to be stuck like in this like. I feel like we're in like a time loop of like the same culture like repeating, and like the remakes too. Like everything's a remake, and I don't know. I feel like we're living in like a weird like time capsule, and like yeah, it's cool and it's funny and it's like, you know, I'm not saying it's bad. Like don't get me wrong, but I think it's also too much, and like I want to see, you know, what the younger generation is like coming up with, and like what they're into, and like, you know, new stories, new media, new books. And I know they exist, but they're not like the same like cultural impacts as much as like some old stuff from like the 90s and 2000s. It like kind of stays, and I think yeah, like again, like it's good in some ways, but I also want to see like more new stuff too. So I don't know, I like thinking about that recently too. Like it feels like I like time hasn't moved. Like I feel like middle school Olivia has existed in the same like world as Olivia now. I just got older. Like that's the only difference. It's so weird. Sorry, let me read the comments. Okay, so Redeem-san says, I remember in China there's like a TikTok farms, like a lots of random girls in one room, and everyone have her own stream, but the same thank you for the rose. Yeah, content. Oh no, that's so scary. That's so creepy. Oh my god. Like I get it. I get that they make money from it, but it feels like really scary. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's like it gives you the creeps. Like it gives you creepies. You know. I think the one girl was funny because I feel like she didn't start out to be like that, but then she became like that. And it was funny. But like when they're doing it just for like profit and like aiming towards an audience, um, that's so scary. I don't know. I don't like it. It's spooky. And yeah, I hope they're okay. I mean, I guess they get money, but still, like, you know, I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit scary. But, yeah. But oh my god. in a sense, as that's the problem. There aren't any new ideas nowadays. Yeah, honestly, I like it's so hard. I feel like I've seen like new stuff, like indie stuff, but like the problem is like it's so hard for indie stuff and like new stuff to get into the cultural like mind. I guess like it's so hard. Like even card games, like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, what else? Like One Piece. I don't really play One Piece, but like all those IPs, I guess, like those titles, like all of them are from like when I was a kid, like from the 90s and like early 2000s. And again, I'm not complaining, but like where's the like there's no other card game that can kind of like compete with that because these ones are so established. So it's kind of like that with like media too. But I mean, thankfully, I feel like there's been some new like anime and manga that are really good. But again, like it feels like nobody wants to move on, and I get it, but like I feel like you can personally like stay in the OG stuff, like in the old stuff, but we have to allow like society to kind of move forward and like change cultural identity like as a whole. So like maybe like someone's like really into like even now, right? Like someone's really into like 80s stuff or like 70s or 60s or like me, I like the Victorian era like fashion and stuff, and that's fine. But like, can you imagine if like society was like stuck in like Victorian era fashion and like culture for like all this whole time? I think that would be like like scary. So that's why I kind of like, even though I personally enjoy like stuff from the past, of course, but like as a whole, I feel like being stuck in like one kind of generation, I guess, or like culture, it's kind of like it makes everything feel very stagnant and like we can't move forward, and like it feels like this weird like time loop Groundhog Day thing, and it's like weird. Yeah. Also, hi, happy Hinamatsuri. Hello. This stream has been kind of interesting today. It's been a weird stream, but hello, thank you, welcome. And Vidium Sen says, yeah, I think there's just no more good original content. All the cartoons for kids I see are really chopped. Yeah, and now it's also a lot of AI generated cartoons. So I have to turn on old cartoons for him. Oh no, exactly. Yeah, see that's the problem. Like there's no like soul. Like it feels like nobody's really trying to like make a good, or can they, or like I don't know, is the culture just not allowing people the creativity, like the creative space, the money, the budget to create like a new content and like quality content, right? And the AI stuff just makes it all the more like it makes it all the crazier now because it's like it's like I don't know, I guess some people are okay with showing like the AI like slop YouTube videos to their children or like family members, but I don't think that's healthy because like the reason that like we should introduce children to like media like books or movies or anime or stuff, like age appropriate of course, because it's like a safe way for them to kind of understand like communication lessons. Like when I was a kid, reading like I don't know, like Berenstain Bears or something. Like the little bear, he like did something bad in the house, and then he like faced the consequences for it. And then the mama and papa bear said like, "Oh no, don't do that thing." It's like the lessons and the stories, and then you as a child can like see objectively outside of yourself the lesson in these stories. And of course you also gain like ability to read and empathize and a lot of other skills in a safe way that you can do through like media like books and shows. And even as adults, I'd argue we do that too. There's a lot of like shows for adults that maybe they're more complicated, but it's the same kind of like feeling where we can understand like different situations and empathy and learn lessons from the actions that the characters do. I mean, in an ideal and good story. But when something's just AI generated content that is only good for like visual, sound, very basic like input for the senses, it doesn't really enrich the mind. It's just stimulating the mind, but it's not like enriching it or like learning things from it. So I think that's kind of problematic because, like, of course, because then the kids will grow up and then it's like they're not really like as prepared for the real world and social interaction and like the complexities of that. Whereas like a more like human written complex story could teach them that, um, like give them a head start to this kind of like the way the world is. So I don't know, like I just feel like it's very concerning that like there's no space given to art and media and like creative process, because like people always say like, oh, what's the point of creative work, like it doesn't do anything. But no, it's really important for us as like humanity to be able to engage like, and like I know people say like the soul, and like yes, like art is related to the soul, but I think it's also related to like cognitive, emotional, intelligence, like developing the brain through storytelling. And this is like an ancient thing of humanity. It's not like a new thing. So, whether the storytelling happens in like a video game or a TV show or a book, it has to have like an enriching content to like have the brain engage with it deeper. And of course, like again, like age appropriate, but it's still the same like core that should be kept. So I don't know, like I just get really like upset at like seeing all these like modern stuff, and I'm like, even like SpongeBob and was kind of like silly, like he was like a silly guy, blah blah. But that show too had like lessons to it, and like there was moments where like yeah he was silly and it was wacky and so on, but there was like moments in the show where it like taught you how to like treat your friends, or like how to look at life positively, on like the contrast between like Squidward, who's like really tired at work, and like you don't get him as a kid but you get him as an adult, and like things like that. Like there's little things you kind of can pick up on. But that's what I mean by it's like complex, human written, a little bit more higher quality than just like sloppy, like just inputting, like again, like just sensory entertainment, but not like enriching your mind. So yeah, I think it's really concerning. Oh, let me read your comment. Sorry. Vanessa says, "Oh, bye for him. I mean, my little brother. Yes. He watched the same cartoons I was watching back then because there's nothing new. Oh, I'm glad you're showing him like better stuff. I'm really glad you're a good brother, because stuff now is just too. I don't know. I don't know. It's just too much." Williamson says also, and the way how content style has changed, cartoon colors have become much brighter, the style is simpler, and the emphasis on something funny, and songs that stick in kids' head. Exactly, exactly. It feels so like, so this might be controversial, but like I think it's like it's so like I don't know how to explain it, like it's so like looking down on children, like as if like children are like monkeys, or like little monkeys, like wow, like colors and lights and like me, like that's all they want, that's all they care about. And like it might seem like that, like kids are very like simple minded and so on, but we have to give children like, we have to also like give some respect to the fact that they will grow into adults, and not like treat them as if they're going to be babies forever. So what I mean by that is like, personally, when I was growing up, right? So my mom, she was amazing. So I say was because she passed away, but she was amazing because like she, like when I was a baby, like she would just show like really basic stuff. Like I don't know, I don't even remember because I was a baby. But when I got old, like when I got like maybe like 3 years old, 4 years old or something, she would show me like like older stuff that was like way more complicated. Like for example, one of my favorite books, The Little Prince, she gave that to me. Like she gave it to her uncle when he was my age, and my uncle gave it to me when I was about his age. And that book is pretty complicated and like philosophical. Like yes, it's directed towards children, but it's like very like deep, even as an adult. And I think it was a way to show like they weren't underestimating my intelligence, even though I was a child. And I think allowing like giving like showing your child that you see them as like an individual who has intelligence, even if they can't express it as much as a child, it does like give you confidence to see yourself as more than just like wow baby, like you know what I mean, like it makes you see yourself more like as like I can do this, like I can understand these complicated books and I can read these big sentences and like I can engage with this media more like sharply. And yes, there was things I couldn't understand back then, and that's natural. But I was thankful that I was treated as an intelligent like person, not just like baby dumb child, you know? So that's what I feel like is a lot of problem, because you hear about like those kind of parents that just like give their child like an iPad and just show them like Coco Melon or something, like just silly like mindless kind of videos like that. And it's kind and they don't engage with their child, or treat them like an intelligent person who, well, they're a child but they will grow up to be an adult someday, and sooner than you think. So I think it's important to like show that respect to like young children and and like like from preschool age to middle school, like the developmental years. I think it's important to not like treat them as like little dumb babies, but like actually educate them and like show them that they are capable of understanding these complicated things, these complicated stories, um, these they can read long sentences and engage with stories, and it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be like I don't know, like overwhelming even, because at least for me, I wanted to be challenged more when I was a kid, and I feel like my peers, like my classmates, my friends, we were all kind of on the same page. Like we all wanted to be like, we all wanted to be smarter, we all wanted to be better, we wanted to be like the super smart kid in class, so we're always like trying to like learn more and like understand more. And I think that's like natural human like wish. Like we always want to be better, we always want to be smarter. I don't think anyone wants to be like I don't know, I don't think we someone would say I'm happy not being able to read a novel. Like even people who say it's hard to read a novel now, they want to go back to being able to read, like sit with a novel and read it. Like some of my friends now, they're like, I remember when I was a kid, I used to read big novels, and now I can't focus, and I want to go back to that, because I feel like it's innate for us as humanity to want to like learn and evolve. But when we treat children as like dumb baby monkeys, like we're not giving them that space or the time, or like the like I don't know how to explain it, like the ability to kind of like expand that mindset and like that desire to like learn more. So that's why I don't like the new kind of idea that like who cares about kids, they're just dumb and they won't understand anything. I'm like, no, like children do understand it. Like maybe it's not at the same level as an adult, but they do understand. Like I remember being a kid very well, and I understood a lot of things that people thought I wouldn't have understood. So that's why it's like I don't know. I feel like I don't like this kind of like idea in modern society, and I think it sets up a lot of future adults for like more difficult, more of a difficult future, and that makes me angry because it's like there's no consideration, right, for the younger generation, because it's like I feel like I feel like not my generation as much, or like Gen X, but like especially like like I don't know. I don't want to generalize generations because everybody's different, right? But like I feel like there's a lot of sentiment from older generations and even people in my generation that think like, oh, the younger people are so stupid. So hear me out. So like I saw this article that said like Gen Z is like less intelligent than millennials or something. And all the millennials in the comments were like, haha, it's so funny. Like, they're so dumb. Like, of course, they're not as smart as us. Millennials, the best generation, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. Like, like, are you guys hearing yourselves? Like, why don't you want the younger generation to be smarter than you? Because we're all going to die someday. And who will be here after you're dead? It will be the young generation and everyone after. Like for me personally, like I want people younger and the young generation to be smarter and like learn more because they're the people who are carried the torch in from the present and then the future. So like I don't understand why everyone was celebrating. All I could see was like, oh my god, we're leading into a society that will make everything hard for everyone else and like the people like everyone will suffer from this and like everything will be way harder on everyone else and make things more complicated. And it's just like, why are you guys celebrating? And I don't understand. Like it just feels like such an like an ego thing. Sorry, I had to adjust, but it felt like such an ego thing because it's like I don't know, like why wouldn't you want the younger generation to be smarter than you because they're going to be the future. So like I don't know, I'm at an age now where I'm kind of like in the middle between like the young generation, the old generation, and I'm like now I'm seeing like how important it is to like make sure that the younger generation is prepared for the future and like to carry on like governments and like other projects and like architecture and medicine and I don't know like spirituality even um like I think about that a lot in Konko, like who's gonna take over the Hiromai? Like when I'm old, like I like 30 years is gonna go like that, and then I'm 60, and then what? Like who's gonna take over, right? And I would want someone who's intelligent and passionate and smart to take care of this Hiromai, and I don't want someone who will be like panicking at like difficult situations or like and of course that's natural because we have to grow, but like that's why like I want people to be able to grow more and like do better and like evolve into good like young people. And it's like I don't know why everyone thinks that's dumb or silly. Like it's crazy. I don't understand. But yeah. Oh, let me read the comments. So Aya-san says it's why I've been trying to give my nephews slower media, physical media. Oh, that's good. And books, because a lot of times instead of just handed over slop, but gives you time to think about it. Yes. Also, the reflection on how people. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, exactly. Like, I'm so thankful you're showing your nephews like slower media and stuff, and like introducing them to more like high level content. I mean, even though if it's age appropriate, but it's like it's not slop, so that's really good because it helps them. Like again, like it helps you to evolve more and like grow your mindset more. And it's so much better for the mind to like have that time to like absorb um just stuff, like content, media, as in like storytelling media that engages your mind and gives you something to kind of like have complex thoughts about. I mean, honestly, like my mom, for example, like she really like she didn't even raise me on like 90s stuff really. It was always like the old school stuff, like Madeline and like the Little Prince and like Babar and stuff. And I felt super like intelligent because I felt like, oh, I'm get to like read like these classics. Like this is what my mom read when she was young, and I felt like really like I felt like respected too. I don't know. It was like a complex feeling. Like I felt respected. I felt like I was being treated intelligently. I felt like it gave me confidence too because it made me feel like I don't know, I wasn't being treated like a pet or like an animal. Like I was being treated as like, I will grow up to be an adult someday and so I will learn. I'm able to learn stuff. So it's really good that you're doing that for your nephews and like Redeem-san to your little brother. Like it's good that you're like, in my opinion, that you're like showing them that they are like, yes, they're children, but and they're babies or like they're super young. Yes, of course, they have a whole life ahead of them. But of course, they have to prepare for that life ahead of them and, prepare to engage with complicated situations, complicated people, and unfortunately, even people who will try to take advantage of them. So, unfortunately, that exists too. And that's another scary part because if they're not ready for that situation, they can be in very real danger. So it's really good to like keep them educated, keep them smart, keep them educated on that stuff. I think that's why I really like fairy tales too, because fairy tales always kind of teach you like, be careful around strangers, don't like immediately trust someone. Not everyone who seems friendly has the best motivations or intentions. So I think that's really important to educate children, especially because they're more vulnerable to this kind of situation. Like people who try to take advantage. I mean, people were trying to take advantage of me even when I was like almost an adult, like 16, 17. They were trying to like manipulate me and like, do crazy weird stuff and like gross stuff. And I was like, no, like it was just like no. But again, like if I didn't have the education or like, experience, even in stories, it would be a different story, right? Like it would be a different situation. So it's good that you're doing that. Let's see. I feel that a lot of millennials threw away their teenage and childhood values as they got into the mid 2010s. I couldn't understand how the internet 180'd them. Yes, I agree with you so much. Like, and like, because again, like I grew up with like a lot of these people, and we were all on the same page once. Once we we're all on the same page. We're all like, we had like an idealized vision of like the future. Like it was like very inclusive, like very like cultural exchange. Like everyone can get along. It doesn't matter, their background or anything. And like a lot of valuable good lessons. And then like I don't know what happened, but like I don't recognize the people who are like my age or like similar sometimes. Not always. Like thankfully like my friends and like people I hang out with are like, they're cool. But like generally speaking, like sometimes, I'll come across someone and they're saying like the craziest thing. And I look in their like bio and they're like my age, like they're like 30, 32. I'm like, we learned about this in the kids shows, like in like the old 90s kids shows. Like why are you acting like the villains in these shows? Like did you not learn anything? Like I don't understand. And especially in that era because it was like very clear, like like what is like more good for the future versus like what is destructive and harmful. But I guess like I don't know, they just forgot over time or like I guess now that they're an adult they're like, well, now I don't have to care about what the dumb baby kid stuff. I can just live in the adult world now where like and like do all the manipulative bad stuff. And it's like I don't understand. But I'm thankful for those who don't be like that. So yeah, it's crazy. Allison says, also reflection on how people are celebrating like this. It's sad, and I want to try to fight this as much as I'm able to. Oh, thank you. Yes, me too. I don't like that mindset. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. I just think I don't know. Is it like a fear of aging maybe too? Because like they don't want to be seen as like the older generation. They want to be like seen as the young ones. So they try to like diminish the actual younger generation. I don't know. I feel like that might be a part of it, but I don't think it's an excuse to like act that way anyway. Like you can be youthful and like vitality and like intelligent and smart while also like not pretending that you're like the youngest generation. Like you know what I mean? So it's like I don't know, like just like yeah, we all have like a physical age. That's just the reality of life. Like everything and everyone will age. Even the sun is aging, like let's be real. um but that doesn't mean like you have to like lose who you are as you age. Like you can still be yourself as you age, and you grow too, but like you don't have to give up, or you don't have to like forcefully change yourself. So I don't know if they're like thinking like they have to be like the smart, intelligent new generation forever, instead of allowing a younger generation to kind of hold that torch. It's kind of like, I don't know, again, it's like an ego thing. It feels like, I don't know, but it's weird for me to see in people. I feel like I see a lot of like, I see that in like Gen X and boomers too. Like they kind of feel like, our generation was the best, and all the new people are like dumb and they don't understand, and etc. And it's like, well, yes, your generation had like really amazing stuff and good things, and so did my generation. But the fact is, like, we are getting older, and that's okay. Like, that's life. Like, it's not scary. Like, we don't have to be scared of that. It's just we should be like appreciating it, because not everyone gets to grow old, and it is what it is. Like, that's life. I mean, if it was up to me, I would go back to the Bronze Age. Like, my favorite era is like the Bronze Age, and I think that was the best age in humanity. No one will agree with me, but that's okay. Um, but that is a long, long, long time ago, and it's not coming back. And everyone who was in that generation died. But I still appreciate that age. So, you can still appreciate an age and the people of that age, but also understand that time will go forward, and things will change, and we all change. So, like, that's okay. Like, you just have to keep going, right? So, I don't know. That's just how it is. But yeah, sorry. So Innocent said, nowadays even the toys have the scan for interactive movie or 3D hologram. Yeah, really? And I'm like, what about imagination? Yeah. Oh, that's weird. I never seen that. But that's very concerning. Like that they have some kind. It's like a thing like that. I remember like in my day, like there was like a cereal box and it had like a CD, and you could like put it in your computer and play a game. But I felt like that was like justifiable because at least it was like an educational game, and like it's not like you play with a cereal box, right? Like you're just like eating with it. So that I feel like it's similar but different. But yeah, like why can't your toy just be like your toy? Like I don't think it needs an interactive movie or 3D thing. And especially because nowadays like everything's on the computer and like digital. So I feel like childhood is the one like era where you can like kind of like step away from that technology like mindset. So like for example, like nowadays, like well basically like once you get to middle school age, you're gonna have to end up on a computer at some point, and use the internet or email to keep in touch with people, texting or calling. I feel like that's just normal. But before middle school, like you're kind of more free because the only people you really know are like your family and your friends at school. So I feel like in that era at least, you don't really need to have like everything to be like digital or like online or interactive like that. You can just like have the physical thing, or like put the DVD in the thing. I don't know if there's still DVDs, but you know what I mean? Like at least watch something on a TV. you know, it doesn't have to be like on the iPad or like on the phone. Like at least on a TV, it's kind of like, you're sitting there, you're watching it. It's a little bit different. And I feel like childhood is like the one time like you get that chance really in modern times. So it makes me sad that like even like Toys for Kids like kind of have this like digital like leaning to it. And I remember, I'm trying to think, like I'm not trying to be too like back in my day about it, because I remember like Tamagotchi and stuff like that. It was also digital, but I feel like that had like a physical aspect too, because like it was more like a keychain and you were pushing the buttons, and it was just the thing. It was just a little guy. It wasn't like apps or like it wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna do my dailies on this game and then do my dailies on this game and do my dailies on this game. So it wasn't like, multiple things or the internet or like multiple videos. It was just like the one focus thing. And I think that's okay, but like again, I don't know. I feel like at least for younger kids, it's better to kind of like let them have the physical something, right? And especially even like just going outside, like let's talk about going outside because like I'm gonna be honest, like I have like going outside is like tricky these days. No, I'm joking, but it's kind of, I'm not joking because like I don't know why, but like a lot of culture has shifted into indoor stuff. Like it's expensive to go out, and it's very rare to find a place where you can like just go out and be out and not be afraid of something happening, or all that sort of stuff. But it's possible. It's still possible to go out and enjoy nature or like a hike. And I feel like especially for kids, like they need that time in nature, and like interacting with nature is so important. Like like just like picking dandelions, or like picking up pine cones, even like raking leaves in the garden or something. Honestly, anything is really important to kind of like go out in nature. And I don't know why exactly I say this, but I just feel it inside of me because I just think it's like a very important thing for like our soul, I guess. Like just not like don't isolate ourselves in the human world, but we should try to like see the bigger world too, like the natural world outside of just the kind of like cities and towns and suburbs and digital world. It's important to kind of like feel nature too. I think that's important, and it's really rare that like even adults can go out into nature and like experience that. So it's sad, but I feel like at least if there's any time in our lives we can really spend time outside, at least it should be, I feel like, childhood, because we have like that's your like developmental years, and there's not really any responsibility to attend to. And the only responsibility you have as a kid is to just learn. Like you have to learn, experience, and grow up, and all of these things you carry on into your adult life. And I think that's really important. Like I think we have to protect this developmental years for kids, and like allow them that space to like have that space before going into the adult world where it's like really complicated, and like there's so much to think about, and like you know responsibilities, and like survival and stuff, and like there's so many things, right? So you need to be able to prepare for that. Like that's the whole point, right? Like that's the whole point of childhood and like growing up. It's like you need to like take those years to prepare for like the majority of your life is going to be like this really tough, complicated, intense thing. So I feel like kids need that time to have that era to like explore and like learn. And especially again like nature, like I feel like nature teaches you so much, and it's so important. And yeah, like I remember just like when I was a kid, in school, like thankfully like I had recess, of course. And I feel like I honestly can tell you guys like one of the most, like I feel like most of the really important lessons I ever learned in my life was from those moments in like recess outside, like by myself in like nature, which wasn't even because it's funny because I went back to my elementary school and I was like, oh my god, I remember the playground, and it looks so tiny compared to when I was a kid. I was like, okay, this is like not what I remember, but at least when I was a kid, it felt like a big forest, and it felt really special. And I feel like I learned so much from like those experiences. And what I mean by that is like, for example, I remember one time I saw like little caterpillars on the trees, and like I just was watching them, and I don't know, something was like very profound about the fact that these like little creatures were like eating the leaves, and I knew that they would like become like cocoons and then they would become butterflies. But because like I read stories about it, and I saw shows about it. But when I actually saw like the creature in front of me and like seeing it moving and it's like alive, I don't know, something about that like struck me. And it was different than what I saw in like books and shows and stuff. It was like it was very vivid, and it made me realize like there was like life outside of me. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just something very like it was like striking to me that like these little creatures are here living their lives outside of me, outside of the stories I read, outside of the human world, and they were here like living and eating and growing and doing their own lives. And I don't know, it was really striking to me and powerful. And like those moments, I don't think you can get anywhere else but like in nature. And I don't think anyone else can teach you that but nature. And even things like just watching how the seasons changed. So like every spring, like the dandelions would come up, and I was like, wow, like why does this happen? Like it's so mysterious and amazing. And in autumn, like the leaves would change colors. Like you'd meet, like my teacher would like tell us to pick up a leaf, and we would like, I don't know, we would like put it on the notebook. We did this thing where like we put a leaf under the notebook, and then you would like scratch it on, and it would like make the pattern of the leaf. I don't know, like that was really cool to me, and it was so cool that I still remember it. And it was a way to like kind of interact with nature more, and like touch the leaves that fell down, and like look at, like actually look at it, and like you see all the little like veins and like the details. And then again, that's like also very profound, because you realize like a human didn't make this, but this was how it is in nature. And there's a lot of like moments like that. And like especially growing up in Canada, it's like winter is super long. So like I go out in recess, and it's like frozen tundra, like freezing outside, and like giant like towers of ice and everything. And I was just like, whoa, like it, because it was striking, because from like summertime with like the dandelions and the flowers and like green, to like this frozen winter tundra. And you're just like, that's crazy, like especially as a kid, because you're just like everything's very fresh and very new and like intense. And I feel like if I didn't have that time, at least even in recess, to like go out and see this and like feel the snow and like feel the leaves and like register this kind of like world we live in. I don't know, I feel like that was so formative for me and like so important for me. And I feel like not even for me, but for like my friends and like my peers, like so many of our most vivid memories are like things that are out in nature, and like things we did outside in nature, and like in the fields, in the snow. And I don't know, it was just like very much more impactful and like educational than like stuff we would see like in stories or books. So I think that like we really, like as humans, like we really need that like time to like see and feel nature. So yeah, sorry, I don't know. Ayasan says, I feel like there's still a place for this exploration as an adult. If I can't go out like work, at the very least, I found role playing, either with groups online or TTRPGs, tabletop RPGs, has always been something I go to try to exercise imagination and creative writing. When I can go outside, I like contemplating, and oftentimes, a solution for something that bugs me comes up being out there. I just need some outside of some kind. Oh yes, yes. Thank you so much, Ayasan. Yeah, I. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like role playing is so good. Um, I haven't been able to do a tabletop RPG, but like online or like making stories with friends, it's so enriching. I don't know. I think that's why I like Lord of the Rings a lot, because it's kind of like that. Excuse me. It's like that same vibes where like everyone's kind of going on adventure and like thinking of like how they will handle situations that come up in the RPG or like in the story, and I feel like it's very enriching. But yeah, like definitely like going outside in some way like helps with that creative process too. And like, I don't know, it's like it's connected, right? Like creativity, feeling outside nature. I think it's all really connected to the soul because I don't know, like creativity or connecting to nature, kami-sama is like connected to our soul. So I feel like it's to have a really enriching life and enriching our minds also comes from enriching our souls. So I think it's great that you're also like doing the like tabletop RPGs and RPGs like groups and like going outside. I think that's really good and really important. Oh, Williamson says, I lived in Siberia a bigger part of my life. But my brother don't remember snow because he lives in Southeast Asia from the youngest age. Oh no, yes. Oh, I hope you can take him to somewhere snowy. uh, I guess he'll be more used to the Southeast Asia climate, which is more like tropical, warmer. Yeah, there's no even here in Yokosuka. There's like no snow. Like it's very sad. I miss snow, like the big, you know what I'm talking about, like the big tundra snow, and it's super cold, and there's like piles of snow, and yeah, I feel like there's something special about that environment too. But I hope someday you can go on a trip with your little brother and experience the snow and enjoy a nice trip together. But be really good. I remember my friend from the Philippines originally. She never saw snow until she moved to Canada, and she was so happy seeing snow the first time. She was like 14 or 15. We met in middle school, and she was like, "Oh my god, it's my first time seeing snow." Like she knew what snow was, but it was her first time seeing it, and she was so happy. And like I still remember her happiness, and it made me happy. And yeah, I think maybe someday like you can have a moment like that with your little brother. Just like have a moment you go see snow together. That'd be super fun and super good. But yeah, like I don't know, like actually seeing it is so different than like just knowing about it in stories. I really want to see the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. My sister sees it where she lives now, but I never seen it in person, and I really, really want to see it. Like that's the one phenomenon of nature that I really, really want to see, because I heard it was like super beautiful in real life, and I'm like, oh my god, like I need to see. Like I can't even comprehend how crazy it would be to see in person. I don't know if you've ever seen the Northern Lights, maybe because I feel like Siberia is pretty more northern than Toronto, at least. Because you can see it in some parts of Ontario, but it's not like it's not like the really vivid, like intense one. So I really want to see that. Um, there's one time in my life I saw the Milky Way, and nobody believes me the story. But one summer I went up north to like northern Quebec. It was like super, like way up there. There was like nothing around. It was like cottage country. It was just like a lake, and then there was like like maybe like five cottages or something. And my dad's partner's friend like lived up there. She had like a cottage up there. So we went there one time for the summer, and it was like late August or something like that. And one night, like we were all like around the cottage, like there was a fire, and we were like looking at the stars, like just talking. And I think I remember that I kind of stepped away from the fire for a bit because I don't know, I just wanted to like go like outside a little bit. Like I wanted to be on my own for a little bit. I was like 14. No, 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 sorry. I was like 12, like 12, 11. And I was going over there. And I sat in the darkness for a long time. So I think that's why. But when I looked up at the sky, it was so bright. It was like it was like blazing bright, like you know those Milky Way pictures you see with the long exposure, and it's like super bright, and there's like the purple streaks, and like all you can see all the stars. I swear to you guys, like I saw that with my naked, like with the bare eye, like I could see it, and it was like so bright, and like there was so many stars. I swear I could see like Saturn, like it was tiny, but like I could see like the little ring around it. And I was like in awe. Like I was so shocked, and I couldn't even like believe what I was seeing. And like I told my dad this story, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "What Milky Way?" And he doesn't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, "Dad, you were there." But I swear, like I saw it, and I never forget it. And then I like I couldn't understand at the time, like when I was looking at this big bright Milky Way, I was like, why did humanity make like street lights? Because it was so bright, and like it was like I didn't need any like electric lights or like fire. Like you could like it was like nighttime, of course, but like it was like illuminated, like on a really full moon night when the moon is like super bright and like you can see a lot. It was like that, but even more. And like I was so mad at that moment. Like, why did humanity make like lights to? Because now, because there is lights, we can't see this. And I was like just so in awe, and like that was like burned into my memory. And I always wonder like how did I even see it that bright? But maybe it's because I was staying in the dark for a long time, and like there was no lights around me at all. And maybe like I don't know, I was like looking forward at the lake, and then I started to see like the brighter light on the horizon, and I was like, what's that light? And then I look up, and it was like blazing bright, and I was like, whoa, like that's the Milky Way, and why is it so bright? And I was like in like absolute awe, and I want to see that again, but I don't know if I can ever see it again, considering like the light pollution and things like that. But like it was just so like I can't explain it. Like it was just incredible, and it made me feel so tiny, like on Earth. And it was crazy because you could actually see the like the like space gas. I don't know how to explain. Like nebulas. Like you could see like the little bit of the nebula in the stars. Like it was insane, and I was just like, I was just like why did humanity like not look or like try to see? But I guess I've heard like stories like in ancient times, like people talk about the Milky Way like that. That I guess that's why they call it Milky Way, because it's like white, it's like bright white. And I know that it doesn't like appear like that all season because the Earth is rotating, so like the bright part will look like it's changing position. Um, but like I guess that's why they call it Milky Way, like in Greek mythology, because it was like what it was like milk, like it was white and like bright, and I was like, whoa. And then like I ran back to the camp where everyone was having the fire, and I was like, look at the Milky Way, look at the Milky Way, it's so bright. And they're like, oh yeah, the stars are so nice. And I guess they were seeing like the how we usually see the Milky Way, like it's kind of like if you're in a rural area, like it's bright, but it's not like crazy space bright. So I guess I'm like, yeah, the star is the Milky Way. And then I was like, it must have sounded like a crazy person. But yeah, I asked my dad now, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what are you talking about, Milky Way. He's like, I don't remember that. I was like, that it was like the most intense moment of my life. I was like, oh my god. And then my at one point, my sister, she tried to go up to Quebec in summer, but I don't know if she went north enough. But she's like, I saw the Milky Way, but it wasn't like the way you described it. I was like, no, like so either it's my like despair where like there's too many lights now, and like I can never see it like that again unless I go to like an island, or like you need to be in the darkness to really see it that bright, and you have to have your when your eyes adjust. So when you like close the lights in your room and it's like pitch black and you can't see anything, but then if you keep your eyes open, like the room will start to get a little bit brighter and you can make out the shadows. I think that's what happened. I think like I let my eyes adjust to the darkness, and then that's why it looked way brighter. So I'm gonna try that, because down here in Yokosuka, there's like a spot that they say you can see the Milky Way really bright, and we tried to go, but it was so dark. It was kind of scary. Um, but yeah, like eventually, like after we stayed there for like 10 minutes, you could start to see like more stars appear. But it wasn't enough to see what I saw. But I I really want to see that again, and I hope like you guys can see it too someday. wherever you go, there has to be like a designated Milky Way spot on the planet, or I'm gonna be really mad. So it was just like, it's incredible how beautiful nature is, and like, I don't know, humanity just like doesn't interact with it as much as we should to appreciate it as we should. And I don't know, I guess we choose convenience over connection. And I can get that. I mean, of course I want lights on at night. I'm using technology lights right now. I'm not saying it's bad. But I wish there was more of a balance and ability to kind of keep certain spots untouched. Um, I would really like that, but I don't know. We'll see. Williamson says, but I realized how quickly people forget things. I don't really remember how snow feels, like physically touching it. Oh no, yeah. I no. I hope you can go back to remembering the snow and have a moment to, um, you know, like have a winter where you can feel the snow again. I feel like I could remember, but like like for me, I don't know. It's like it's complicated, right? Because it's like I can remember ish, but it's like if I don't like if I don't really try to remember, like it fades. It fades from my memory. I think it's because like for humans, right? Like most of our sensory input and memory is supposed to be used for like future situations, like even language. Like we can forget a language easier if we're not using it, because the brain's like, oh, you don't need it for survival. You don't need it. So it might be similar with like environmental memories and like things like that. It's maybe the brain's like, oh well, let's focus on this current environment, and then memories of the past environment are more hazy. But I hope you can go back and experience, even if it's not like back in your hometown in particular. I hope you can like go to a snowy place and feel the snow again someday soon. Mm. Even if it's like, I don't know, like Hokkaido or something, or Niigata. Honestly, I want to go back to. I want to go not back. I never been to Hokkaido, but I want to go to Hokkaido and like really experience like a proper winter that I remember. With the big snow and it's super cold, and you know, I know people don't like winter, but for me, it's part of my like life. It's part of my history. So yeah, like I hope you can go back and experience the same too. Because I know it's like you want to like remember like what you experienced and what you felt and like what you grew up with, especially. So I hope you can, and hopefully, like in the next like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, like Earth people on Earth, human society can kind of start to get better or like heal more. I hope, because certain people in power now hopefully won't live forever, and hopefully whoever will take over is not crazy, but it could also be worse. But I'm going to choose to believe in a better future and pray to Kami-sama that things get better. I like to think that, you know what they say, like it's always darkest before the dawn. So I want to kind of hope that maybe it's really dark now, but that means sunrise is coming. I want to believe that. I know maybe people are like, that's unrealistic, etc. But I'm like, well, we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen in 10 minutes. So let's just think about something different than a more like darker outcome, because we don't know. We genuinely don't know. So I want to believe in a better future. So yeah. Oh no, thank you so much to Vadim-san. Yeah, I really hope you can go and take your family too. We all go together and remember like real winter. True snow, true cold, even if it's uncomfortable, but it's good. So I hope someday soon you can go. Thank you so much. And yeah, I want to believe that too. Me too, right? So, I know people are like, a lot of people are like, well, don't get your hopes up. Like things can always get worse and etc. I'm like, yeah, of course, I know that, unfortunately, but things can also get better. Things can also get better because that's the thing about change, right? Like change is inevitable. Like things will always change. That is a fact. But we don't know if it will change positively or if it will change negatively. And unfortunately, things have changed from, generally more positive to generally more like negative and really bad, honestly, like getting worse. But that doesn't mean it will keep staying that way because change will always happen. So it's possible that it could change the other direction as well. And then it will change back to bad and it will change back to good. And, we don't know what will happen because it's always changing. But for me, at least it's like there I can't, or I don't feel like I need to give up hope because of the fact that I know, even if it's sad that nothing lasts forever and things always change, that can be a good thing when things are bad too. So, when things are good, we don't want them to change and we want them to last forever when they're good. But when things are bad, that's when it's a good thing that things don't last forever and that they change. So I try to think about it like that, right? I know people are like, maybe that's like too like positive, etc. Like, I don't know, toxic positive or something, but I don't think so. I think it's just realistic. I think it's just reality and accepting that things change. And they say that that's like a really big teaching in like Buddhism too, like just accepting that things change, for better or for worse, and just keep going forward. And that's all we can do, really. And while keeping forward, I like to try to believe that it will change for the better. And even if it gets bad again, I like to think that maybe it will still, like, it will go backwards, but we're still moving forwards. Because again, like, I want to believe in younger generations too, and like believe that the younger generation will learn from the past one. And I think that, like, even though we're in difficult times now, I do see like people my age and younger, like we see how it's a problem. Like, no, like a lot of us don't like it and a lot of us don't agree with it, and that gives me hope, that we're on the right track. Because if majority were like enjoying this situation, I would have less hope. But the fact a lot of us don't like what's happening and we want things to get better and we want the change to happen, we're just in a bad position to make it happen. That does give me hope because I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only person thinking this. Like, there's a lot of allies I have, like, not just, again, like, not just my generation and younger, but like even older generation who like see this happening and want things to be different. Like, we're all on the same page, we're all allies. And I have hope that because like everyone like that exists, that means that there is hope in the world, because like we are that hope, because we recognize that there's problems and issues to overcome and we don't like the way things are and we want things to be different. So I think that's something to appreciate and recognize, and not just like diminish it as like it's nothing. I think we should like recognize that, that there are people out there who are on the same page and want things to be better. And that makes me feel like I can keep going too, because I don't feel like alone, like I'm not the only person. So I think that's also important to acknowledge and recognize. And even if it feels like you are alone, there's always someone out there who is on the same page. you know and even like organizations and like even like even like people in power, like not all people in power, and there's like a lot of people in power who are not on the same page, because of course the system benefits them. But yeah, Oh, and that's okay. Innocent, Innocent says, I have to go, but thank you for today, Olivia Sensei. Yes, thank you so much. Actually, I realized the time, and it is like 2:21 a.m. So I should start going too. But take care, Innocent. Bye for now. I guess to wrap up for today, I don't know. Today went kind of weird directions, like about like mythology and education, and it wasn't really like, I guess it wasn't really like Shinto related per se, or like Konko related, but I think it's related because it's like life. We're all dealing with life right now, and the one thing that I like about like these ways, like Konkokyo and Shinto general like ideas, is that like it's about life, like here and now, and like how to make things better, and like about keeping harmony and community with others. So I feel like it's related that way to like abstractly. Um, but I was really happy because we got to have a good discussion and like talk with everybody, and it was really good. And thank you so much. And Redeem-san, if you have uh, the commentary about Daishogun Konjin-sama, please tell me in Discord or email, and I'd love to like expand on it in the next live stream. Um, I think that would be a really good topic. And yeah, I'm just checking like, did I miss anything? Yeah, it would be super good. Thank you so much. And I would love if you guys made your own streams too. I watch. So, if you ever have the motivation sometime, like, or like idea or like time, I would love to see if you guys like ever start streams or something. So, yeah, I'd love to watch you guys, like, your thoughts too and things like that. Oh, Lisa says, oh yeah, I would love to talk about this kind of anywhere else. Thank you. Oh no, of course, same. Yeah, I love to talk about it more. I'm like, because of Jujutsu Kaisen, it sounds so cringe, but like honestly, I'm like, oh my god, like there was so many things about like Ryomen Sukuna that like connected to like Konjin Sama, and I was like, I feel like I'm missing, like I feel like there's more, like not because we know Konjin Sama from Konko Kyo, and like Konko Kyo has so much information about Konjin Sama, but then like I wanted to find out about Konjin Sama like outside of Konko Kyo, and like the deeper lore and like general like the Onikami stuff. And like I feel like Ryomen Sukuna was like related to that lore. And so I was like, oh my god, I have to research more. And I was like, it's like trying to find more. And like, yeah, maybe it's like in modern Konko Kyo, like there's not really a lot of that kind of aspect. But I still want to learn about it. So like I still want to understand more. And so lately, I've been like going back and reading the Gorikais, like Oboegake, Oboecho, Oboegaki, Oboecho, and just trying to understand Konko Daijin Sama's perspective and like lifestyle, because I I don't like it when I read through it and I feel like I'm missing context or like missing some cultural nuance. And even though I've learned a lot in like Kenkyusho and Gakuin and like being there in Okayama, I don't think it's enough because I'm not actually someone living in like the Edo period Japan. So I want to like keep learning more. So it would be really good for next stream and talk about it. So yes, thank you so much. Okay. Yes, it's almost 2:30 now, so I should start wrapping up. But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for listening to me like talk about random stuff. I'll try to be more structured the next stream. But I really appreciated today's stream, and it was good to talk with everyone. And I hope whoever watches the recording of this after, I hope you enjoyed as well. And maybe you found something interesting. And if you have any comments, feel free to leave it on the video. And yeah, I look forward to next time. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, take care for now. Bye for now. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you so much.